Awesome. I think we are good to start with Marcelo's session then. Okay, first of all, hi Marcelo. Thank you for joining with us. For the folks who want to know a little bit about Marcelo, Marcelo will be taking our What is Refi session. Marcelo is from Refi Spring, but I will let him give like a more like descriptive intro about him and then take it ahead. Thank you, Marcelo.
Yo, it's Neha, the name? Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, it's Neha.
It's Neha. Oh, nice. Thank you. So thank you for the whole crew who are like organizing these events. I saw last year GreenPill Festival. It was like a super amazing.
Looks like Marcelo got disconnected for a second. Just wait for him to join back in.
Can I ask a question meanwhile he joins? That's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, I'm seeing the content tracks that are there. So just wanted to know, like since you're applying as a team, right? So like, how does that work with the content track? Like
How does that work with what?
the content tracks that are there, so SDG content tracks, right? For basically writing blogs or whatever. Yeah,
Okay. So you want to know if it's individual or like team based,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be individual, but I'll still confirm once. I think Marcelo's back. So I'll just confirm with you, Madhav, and we'll let
Yeah,
you know over on
sure.
TG.
Got it. Thanks.
Hey, Marcelo, are you facing some issues with your connection?
Now I'm ready. Sorry.
No worries. Go ahead, Marcelo.
Okay. So as I was saying, first of all, thank you for organizing these events. And as a Brazilian, I understand like that's in the global South we have a lot of challenge for the refi ecosystem as a whole, but also we have a lot of solutions for the refi ecosystem. And part of those solutions comes from the fact that we are dealing daily with the challenge with the climate challenge in general, and with the challenge of the climate injustice that we live in our world today. And I think maybe we can start the definition of refi with a small difference between what refi means in terms of from a global north perspective, in terms of like trying to reduce the aggression against nature at a global scale, and from the global south, as we are dealing with the challenge we are trying to solve, and to solve global challenge at the same time we are trying to survive. And I'm not only talking about uh, the climate challenge, but also about social inequality, poverty, etc., corruption. So I think we can start with that, and then we can move to the different parts of the refi ecosystem. Can everyone hear me? It's everything okay? Thank you. Madhvat Sharma. The refi ecosystem started from the perspective that the climate emergency cannot wait for the global leaders, and I'm talking about both markets and state level. The global leaders, we cannot wait for them to reach a consensus around the level of the emergency. And the refi ecosystem started as this perception coming from a couple of people working in the intersection between climate action and DeFi in general. The term refi, the idea of regenerative finance, comes from the works of mostly two people. One, an investor called John Fullerton. He started with the idea that we can use finance and money itself as to build incentives to the regeneration of the world. Because if like there are people profiting from the destruction of the world, and if there are no incentives for those regenerating the world, then we have here incentive for bad behavior. And the idea of John Fullerton was to use finance and its technologies to create different incentives to regenerate the world. And of course, he's from trad finance, traditional finance. So it was not refi by the time. It was more like refi, but like traditional finance, not DeFi, not blockchain. On the other side, we have a lot of scientists, a lot of writers working around the idea that nature itself has the methods for regeneration, and we should learn from nature. One of the main scientists here is Humberto Maturana, and I think he's from Chile. And he has this idea that nature has regeneration tools, and we should learn from nature in order for regenerate ourselves and our relation with the rest of the world. And we can observe nature, and of course, in order to learn, we need also to acknowledge that we are lacking right now the right feelings, the right perspective about our relation with the world, and about the relation we nurture with the other people in the world. And I'm talking about other people because it's not a matter of a country or a specific place, but people in general. And Maturama bring up this idea that we should learn from nature itself. So if we merge these two ideas, then we'll have first the necessity, the demand for finance technology in general to create these incentives for the people regenerating the world to keep doing the work, and also for new people to come on board in the same mission. And I'm talking about all different market activities. I'm talking about people who work on technology, people who work on sell things and services in general, products. And for the other parts, Maturama, he came with the idea that about the process of regeneration from nature itself. So we merge these two things, and we have now a new perspective, a perspective according to which we can at the same time regenerate, we can respect nature, we can respect each other, and we can use markets itself and money as a tool that will serve us, and not we serving money as we have now in our current system, global system. So these two ideas are the basis of Refi in general. And also, of course, we should quote sacred economies, we should quote like the GreenPill, all the books that are helping us to understand the basis of the Refi ecosystem as a whole. But in my view, Fullerton and Maturama are the basis behind the basis. And so then blockchain came, then Web3. And the difference in my view of blockchain to Web3 is that blockchain is the technology. It can be used for whatever need you have, but the technology by itself will not solve any problem, because we live, if we can like compare scientifically, we live like centuries in front of what we're living politically in the world. We already have science, we already have technology to live better, but the technology, it's not available for everyone. So the blockchain technology, it's the same thing. The technology itself will not solve the problem. Web3, in my view, is the set of beliefs and the set of philosophy thoughts around the technology. The idea of collaboration, the idea of being transparent about your actions, the idea of decentralization. All those ideas comes from the environment around the blockchain technology and the civilian use of this technology, because the technology was available for state level actions way before the civilian use. But when the civil society started to use the technology, then we started to see like Bitcoin, then we started to see DeFi, then we started to see NFTs, and a lot of things that help us to coordinate at the global level. So if John Fullerton has the idea of bringing finance and money itself as a technology to support regeneration, and if Maturama has the idea that nature itself has regeneration tools that we can learn from, then blockchain and Web3 came as the bridge between these two things. Because with blockchain, we don't need, with Web3 in general, we don't need billions of dollars to start to work locally and coordinate globally. And am I talking too fast? I just, sometimes I talk too fast, sometimes I get confused and I start like accelerating things. So if like anyone is not understanding, just like open the mic and say, hey, Marcelo, slow down, dude. But so now we have these three things. We have the necessity and the demand for finance technologies to support and to incentivize regeneration. We have the idea of Maturama around around nature having its own regeneration tools that we can learn from. And then we have blockchain. And then we have the opportunity to create worldwide institutions and organizations who will coordinate between them to build global solutions. Global solutions validated at local level. And this is very important, because if we look at the solutions built by traditional institutions, we can see that they are very, very from the top to the bottom. Like people, I think people in goodwill will start to see the data, the numbers, and the science, and we start to, hey, we need to do this, this, and that. But we know that when you come to the local level, when you come to the farmer, when we come to the people selling products in the streets, we know that it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing to explain to them and ask sacrifice from them. For example, if from the ESG seal of alignment with nature, with respect for the environment in general, from the ESG seal, we can conclude, at least here in Brazil, that Vale do Rio Doce is one of the largest mining companies in the world. And Vale destroyed a river that was the main source of income for more than 300 cities in Brazil, and destroyed it in one day. In one day, the dam, they had like a blow, and all the toxic materials from the dam was like into the river. And also, Vale also destroyed the city in the same context. A dam exploded, and then all the toxic mud went through the city. But according to the ESG seal, Vale is a green company. It's a green company. Vale actually organized a thing in my city called the Green Fair, where Vale do Rio Doce teaches children about the environment and about how to respect it. Do you know who is the big destroyer of the environment here in Brazil? The small farmer. The guy who, not knowing the scientific limits between the part of the forest he can chop down to create something and the part he needs to preserve according to the law, without knowing that, he destroys like one tree. And then he's an environmental criminal and he can go to jail. This is so wrong. And I think we have the same kind of challenge in India, in a lot of African countries, probably in the global north too. I cannot speak for the global north, but I think this is a global so I think this is a global challenge, because the ESG was a solution built like from the top to the bottom, like a couple of guys inside the room. I think it was in England, a couple of investors decided that, hey, we need to invest, we need to build the consensus around investing in green companies. And then they start to gather scientists, etc., a lot of people to determine what is green. And the whole problem is, for Vale, which is like a multi-billion-dollar company, it's really easy to buy everything. It's really easy to both to measure the good impact it causes and to raise doubts about the bad impact the Vale causes. But for the guy at the bottom, for the guy like for the small farmer, for this guy, he cannot prove it, the good impact he's causing. I have here in my states, most of the food in my states comes from the same region. It's very funny, the name, it's called biriricas. Biriricas. And most of the food, organic food, it's produced with it's a lot of families. They have like small portion of lands and they plant everything. It's so beautiful, and you go there like green, 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 and like trees, like it's beautiful. But those families are living in poverty. They cannot access credits because they don't have in the traditional world of finance, they don't have the the minimum uh, the minimum ways to prove that they can pay the money they asking for. So they are living poverty, and most of the children, most of the young people from there are not willing to keep planting. They are coming to the city and they are like studying law, economy, etc. So this is a huge problem because the food comes from there. If there are no incentives for them to keep planting and providing the food here will need to come from elsewhere. So, and I'm pretty sure, I know that this is a Brazilian problem. We have this problem all over Brazil, but I'm pretty sure this is a reality in African countries, in Southeast Asia, because there are no incentives for small farmers to keep producing in an organic way. So this is a traditional world. This is the traditional institutions. This is traditional finance. This is how the traditional institutions that are like trying to save the world are actually not saving it. But then Web3 plus the idea of using money as a technology, and then the idea of respect for nature, and the idea of we learning from nature. When these three things merged into one thing, then we started to think about the possibility of building new economic systems. And I'm not talking here about socialism and capitalism and like the economic systems we experimented. Hey, you too, I think you're muted if you're trying to say something. But I'm talking about like really rooted, located economic systems. Because if there is something that we learn from the past experience that we have as a humanity about the economic systems is that it cannot work one single solution for the whole world. We need people building their own systems locally, according to the culture, according to what they believe is right for them. We cannot ask people globally to bow down to one single economic system. This is insane. I don't know who think it would be a good idea. Of course, I know, like colonialists, etc., imperialism. But rationally speaking, it cannot work. So, and DeFi allow us to experiment with money as a technology. And we can experiment safely. We can, of course, there are like bad experiments out there, but if we bring together with the experimentalism that DeFi can provide us, can allow us to experiment. If we bring together the respect for nature, and I'm talking nature, not only the green stuff in forests and mountains, I'm talking nature as we, as ourselves, as the people in your neighborhoods that you hated the most. Like, think about the people in your neighborhood that you, oh, I cannot handle this specific guy or this specific woman. But we need to understand that we are living in the same world. There are no out there considering humankind. We are here. We are here in the same ship, in the same place. And regardless of the imaginary frontiers that countries started to build and to defend against who knows, we are like the same species. And the idea of respect nature is binded to the idea of respecting and loving each other. We should, and love is not a theoretical, it's not a philosophical word. Love, it's a word that is only meaningful in practice. You cannot love someone in theory. You can love someone only in practice. So the idea of respecting nature and respect ourselves, allow us to take some limits to the kind of experimentalism we can do with money and with new economic systems. And I can tell that here we are coming to the definition of refi. We can tell that refi is the intersection between finance, blockchain, and climate action in general. But maybe we can change climate action by respect and love for all the living things. And when we have these three things together, and when we have the opportunity to create this global ecosystem, this global civil society ecosystem, we start to build hope, because this is not only new. We know there is like a hype around the blockchain, and if we talk about refi within the whole idea of blockchain and Bitcoin, Ethereum, Celo, Polygon, etc., we know the hype is there. But apart from the hype, what we have here is the opportunity to coordinate globally around saving ourselves, and doing that, and do that without having to sacrifice ourselves, because we know that people who do good stuff, it's often punished by doing it. If you start a project to, I don't know, to gather food and to deliver it for poor people, if you're not rich enough to have the budget for the project, you need to like go ask for money. And it's a horrible thing that people doing good things are the ones asking for money. The rationale, the logical way for this work is those people getting offered money. Like corporations around the world should dispute who will give money to which project. And this is the world that we can create using the technology of money, the environment and the technology of blockchain, and the acknowledgement that we belong to nature, and nature belongs to us, and nature, as I said before, everything and everyone. And when we bring these three things together, we have this opportunity. We can create hope for everyone. And now we just need to understand how each part allocates itself. Like how can investors, how can VCs, venture capitals, participate in this without hurting people, without an imperialist approach to the global south? How can initiatives from the global south participate in this and have a voice and participate in the decisions? How can entrepreneurs, startup founders participate in this, accelerate this ecosystem? Those are the questions we need to answer. We started to answer some of those questions last year with Refi Spring. We started, and the first answer was, hey, if we're going to bring the voices from the global south, we need to deliver incentives for people that are organizing Refi talks, Refi events in the global south needs to have incentives and support for doing that. And that's what we've done in the global in the last year. And that's what we are trying to improve this year. Because last year was about bringing the voice, bringing the people, not opening, but blowing the door away. There should be no door for people from the global south to access it. Actually, it should be a pool for people to jump in and have fun while doing the essential work that is done in the global south. And then, today and this year, we have new challenge, which is how entrepreneurs, startup founders, and investors can join this without hurting or without like dominating the whole talk, because we know that money is authority. Money comes from with authority. So now we are trying within Refi to design this idea of a global network of Refi nodes in cities in the world. We obviously try to start with the central cities because it will be easier then to spread it all over the countries. But the idea is for each node to be led by startup founders, but holding accountable by local activists, scientists, authorities, and the civil society in general. So we are moving from the internet, from blockchain, to in real places. And this creates another kind of hope for us. And I'm saying us as this global ecosystem. The hope that we can maybe speed the flow, we can increase the speed of the flow of resources from the global north to the global south. So we can increase the incentives for people in the global south to join this adventure. Not only keeping doing, but also join this, because it will be so nice in terms of you be profiting from your business. You have this global network of people trying to support you. You'll be like supported in all the ways possible. And this idea, the idea of bringing local activists and scientists comes from the fact that, okay, startup founders are really keen people, full of energy, but also we need someone to say, hey, look, this is not working in the field, in the streets. This is only working in the statistics, in the numbers. So we need someone to tell them this. And the people telling these things cannot be people from from like another country or another states. It should be people from the local place. Like someone, if you are building a solution for your city, you need feedback on the solution. And think about how awesome it will be to have feedback for your solution even before your solution is deployed. Because you have like a hardcore activist telling you, hey, I'm afraid this will not work because we have this group and this group that will not agree on there and there and there. So I think I can support you with a new narrative for this. If you have like, imagine you as a founder or having a new product to be deployed in your city, and you have like a really nice body of scientists that can say, hey, this is cool, but you have to improve this and this and this detail. But why the activists and why the scientists will be joining this? They cannot be, we cannot just expect them to come to participate in this. Sorry for the background noise. It's it's the middle of the day here in Brazil. It's hot, so hot, but it's fine. But sorry for the background noise. So the idea is for the nodes to bring all the people together in the city, all the like interested people together in the city, so they can coordinate and they can have support from each other and support from this global ecosystem. So the scientist will have support for his regenerative activities and researches. The same thing with the activists. And if we can have a really nice node, then we can support the local authorities, the municipal or state level authorities, to build new policy. Because we'll have like entrepreneurs, we'll have global investors, we'll have scientists, we'll have activists. This is a lot of political power. So this is the opportunity for us to say, hey, mayor or governor, we have these experts here. They are supported by a global network of investors, founders, activists, and they have this idea of this policy that can really improve the quality of life here in the city. So this is the opportunity that we have. This is the vision that we are trying to accomplish. And I say to Pranav earlier this morning for me, that even the support of Refi Spring for events will be aligned with the idea of creating these nodes. So even this event, it would be really nice if you can get like a good batch of people, group of people, really ready to do a commitment. We will start a local Refi node here in our city. We will have startup founders, we'll have entrepreneurs, we'll have activists, we'll have researchers, we'll have students, everyone who wants to understand Refi and start to participate in this ecosystem will find a place for it, a physical place. So about the definition of Refi, I think from the merging of the three things I mentioned before, with the goal of building hope, not like the abstract hope, not the ingenious, naive optimism, but real hope based in science, based in goodwill and commitment. I think this can be the main. I think this can be the main definition of Refi. Personally, to me, the definition of Refi is a global network of people to support local people that are regenerating the earth. And the form, the shape, the resource of this support can be infinite. Like if you're supporting people that are regenerating the social tissue in some Indian small city, this is Refi to me. You don't need like to be restricted to transactions within a blockchain. To me, Refi is really more practical. Refi is like love. You cannot have it just in theory. You need to have the practice. And you need to have like the right institutional design for that. And the difference between Refi a year ago and Refi now is that a year ago, we are trying to think about how to bring voices from the global south to this ecosystem, how to bring the global south to sit on the table. And for this year, we are trying to figure out how to build this table, how to build the chairs. And the best idea that we gathered at RefiDAO to build these chairs is to invite people from all over the world to help it and to sit on the table and share a good meal, hot tea. I think you guys like tea. Here I don't know if like in India, it's so common, but in Brazil, we take tea cold, like really cold with ice rocks inside it because it's really hot here. And this is our vision for this year. And I want to invite all of you who are in this event to participate in this vision and to get support for your projects and to build new projects and to support the global network of projects being built all over the world. We have people doing like amazing things in Suriname, in Hawaii, Brazil, in Paris, in Portugal, in Cameroon, in India, in Japan, in Australia. And those are just the ones I know from the top of my head. I'm sure there are people doing amazing work in a lot of secret places that I'm not aware of. And the idea is for us as an ecosystem to be able to support those people, bring them together, make them know that they are not alone in this. If in 5 years, each person involved in the regeneration of the planet in the world understand that they are not alone, and if we can provide, if they can know that they have this network of support, I will be happy. Like I will retire. I will say, oh, it's the end of the line for Marcelo. So thank you, Irtu. Thank you, Sneha. Thank you, Pranav, and thank you all the crew that are organizing these events.
Thanks, Marcelo.
I love India, and I hope to visit you guys.
Yeah, we hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for that session. And I think we also have our next speaker here. So, Sneha, shall we bring him on?
Yeah, thank you, Marcelo, for the time and for the insights that you shared. Also, I'd really love to see the passion that you share for
Exactly.
Refi. So awesome stuff there. Hoping that we can build the table very, very soon. And now we have our next speaker with